What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Tide Pod Podcast, brought to you by the Real Cast Network. You can find us on all social media and your favorite podcast platforms. Bringing you a weekly dose of reality. You can find us on tidepod.com. Stay tuned. Thanks for listening. Up next, we have this week's podcast. So we're live. Okay, what's up, people? You're now tuning in to the Tide Pod Podcast. It's been a long time coming. I have the pleasure to sit here next to me, none other than Niko Sofianos, who is a competitive gymnast, fitness model. He won Mr. Intercontinental, represented Canada all across the world. This guy's an outstanding musician, sound engineer. He's a hip-hop enthusiast, break dancer for fun. This guy's a teacher, trainer. He's an idea developer and truly an inspirational leader. I thank you for your time today, brother. And I thank you for meeting me. And
no respect.
man, I can't wait. I can't wait to just talk and express ourselves freely.
Yeah, man. It's been a long time coming. Those were the words you. As soon as you said that, I was thinking of verse 2 on the movement, which is it's been a long time coming, but really that's irrelevant because time is an illusion when you've mastered all the elements for self-development and self-control. Align your body with your mind to free your soul. And I feel like that's what we both represent, and it's so nice to have this conversation with a fellow liberated soul. You're
man, I feel that.
Right?
Yeah, man.
Liberated and uninhibited, unapologetic, exposed. Here I am, naked, no clothes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, bro.
This guy's got bars for days. For days, this guy's got bars. Yeah, man. So, I think we should just, I wanted to get into a little bit of, your background and where you come from. And, I know I just touched on it briefly. But
that was a pretty long list, eh?
I mean, hearing it back, unlimited. Yeah, man.
Hearing it back, I'm like, yo, shit, man. Is that me?
Yeah, no, that's straight up you, man. And you've meant a lot to me, man, since the time we met. I remember that when we met was at Blue Suede Shoes,
yes.
at that talent comp. And
Right.
what caused you and Marcos to stand out to me was you guys performed a track on an instrumental that my partner and I had written to.
Oh, yes, a snaz beat.
One of Snazzy's beats. And I heard this beat and I was like, yo, this is our track, right? So
rendered in a whole different way.
Yeah, and then I remember you doing backflips and stuff off the stage.
There's a photo of that. There's a crazy photo of that. I don't know if we can bring it up maybe after in post.
Yeah.
But on my cover page, Moses actually captured it. He snapped it. Perfect timing. Marcos is there, and I'm in midair coming off the stage.
Sick.
Yeah. I remember that event. That was a great event.
That was like 2011.
Was it? No, even... Was it that far back?
I think it was 2011, man. If not before, but I'm pretty sure it was 11 because I get the memory every now and then of me promoting that event.
Wow.
What a great event, man.
Yeah. That song was that we performed. I know where I've been and I know where I'm going. Hear what I say, can't you see it's all flowing? I'm free.
Yeah.
It goes so perfectly with what we were just talking about here. Just being free, liberated, spiritually, soulfully, man. Yeah. Amazing. But yeah, that whole list and all those accolades, I could tell you, brother, like now looking back, I mean, I'm 37 and that was a very significant age. I knew I'd written declarations while I was tree planting out in BC there in 2013, just after the Project Universes showcase that we had done. You remember that?
Yeah.
And I'd written declarations as to what it was I wanted to have achieved by 37. And it had nothing to do with like earthly accolades. And yet hearing them all, it's like, it's awesome to know I've accomplished all that, but I think of the most accomplishments, the most that I've accomplished is to finally be at peace with who I am as a human being, man. Mm-hmm. The yin and the yang. Mm-hmm. You saw it on my back, the tat I just literally finished up. It's about embracing the two because like we're all chasing the light, but who's really facing the
darkness?
You saw that, right?
I did, man. Yeah, that resonated with me because I think a lot of people, they are like, with chasing the light and enlightenment, spirituality, all that. They're looking at the good, but they're not facing the darkness that they have to deal with before they can actually see the light.
Yes.
So,
and that's such an important part of the spiritual process and the human condition itself. Like, it's the Carl Jung said a whole man is he who walks with God and wrestles with the devil.
Yeah.
From Jung himself,
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's been paraphrased and expressed in many different ways.
Yeah.
That's the truth, man. That's what's up right now is we're all being called to marry those inner two. And that's why these concepts are like twin flames and you're so popular because people are always looking to name and to find something outside of them that will complete them. But the fact is that the completion is just within.
Within, yeah, absolutely.
Being at peace, yeah.
Yeah.
With the truth of who you are, which means all the disgusting shit that you find under the rock,
Yeah.
along with all the beautiful, yeah. So I guess, yeah. As we, I don't even know where we want to like take this, but like one thing for sure I want to bring up is, of all the art that I've ever heard from you, Spirit Within, I think is what you called it.
Yeah, that track, yeah.
That has still been a long time favorite, man. Like I tune into that track every now and then when I just feel like I've maybe strayed from my path or I'm forgetting who I am.
Wow.
And I love that, bro. I got to tell you, thank you on behalf of all humanity for creating that piece, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Yeah, that was a heavy tune, man. I remember I was in a. It's funny you say like the light and the darkness. I was in a pretty dark place when I wrote that track, and what you said about it having to come. I was that dude focused on the external, thinking that something outside of me would bring internal peace.
Yes.
And man, that track just flowed out of me. I heard the instrumental, and I think I wrote that track in maybe a day, all verses. Got Chrome on the hook. Yeah, man.
That was Chrome on the hook, right?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
amazing. Man. Amazing. And we share that spirit within, I think, of just unapologetic, uninhibited, willing to face the darkness and all that it is. I got a track called Face the Dark, actually. The chorus, it goes, I gotta face the dark, embrace the dark, replace the dark with the spark of light that's in my heart. Get up. Share the lessons I've learned and be proud of my scars. Gotta face the dark, embrace the dark, erase the dark with the spark of love that's in my heart. Get cut. What seems hard will be what takes you to the stars.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because it's the very darkness and the scars that actually, from that comes the great accomplishments. The great.
Well, the other day when we were on the phone, we were talking about actually prisoners coming out of jail and being incarcerated, where they're more spiritually enlightened than those that have that are outside.
Yes,
because it's from the darkness that
I agree.
They face that and they get to they come out of that like
totally,
far better than they were when they went in.
Yeah, and most people will ever be, even clergymen, man. Like even priests will ever understand because they've seen the whole spectrum. They've had to sit there with themselves in that self-judgment until they finally start really realizing who's judging. Who's judging here? All these are thoughts. They're all coming from this realm of mind. And who is the self? Because there's the self with a capital S and there's a self with a small case S. And the capital S, that's this one here, man, that I ended up finally putting on my chest, the Spartan Productions logo, because that's the spirit within. That is the very self that doesn't judge. It is the self. It's the observer and the observed. And within that, there's no judgment. It's just observation, which is awesome because I remember we also in that conversation were talking about how you're a Virgo and you're Virgo Libra cusp.
Yeah.
So it's actually not just any Virgo. You're born on the 22nd, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you've got that conscientiousness of the Libra, but then you've got that analyticalness skill of the Virgo. And that's just interesting because when we reflect and when we converse and when we create, co-create, I mean, even a conversation is a co-creation, really. But every time it feels like it's very conscientious, it's very deep. There's no frills, there's no scratching the surfaces. You and I, we dive deep quick. We don't
deep. There's no easing into it, man. No. We're going head first.
No, exactly. And that's such a beautiful thing, man. So I don't know how much of the astrology I could make reference to. I don't know what your audience is like and if they're interested in that shit. Some people still see it as complete bullshit.
Well, man, I don't know. A lot of people still read their horoscopes, I'm sure. Whether they believe it or not, man. But talking to you, I mean, over the years, a lot of that stuff makes complete sense. Now, do I believe when I read the horoscope? I mean, sometimes it's bang on. Sometimes it's like, nah, that ain't me.
Right.
So I mean, it's like the newspaper cartoons, right? It's in the same section.
Yeah.
You get to see it's like entertainment type thing. But exactly. a lot of people hold that dear, man.
Sure.
But with talking with you and how much you know about it and how you can intertwine it all and just talking to you the other day on the phone again, like how you the polar opposites of, you know, the Virgo this, the Libra that, Pisces this, Aquarius, you know, the year of Aquarius, all that stuff. I'm like, man, it just baffles me, man. It just, you know, you're just like, you have a plethora of knowledge about that. And I think it can help some people.
Yo, real talk, man. Thank you.
I think it can help
for
some
pointing
people.
that out. It really can, because at the end of the day, like, I mean, if you just look at it theologically, how was Jesus found by the three kings, right? Stars. The three kings represent the three stars of Orion's belt. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's like you can't take any of it literally, but if you look at it metaphorically, and that's how I see, because I'm left-handed, man. I'm always in the right cerebral primarily, and that's the part of the brain that's identifying patterns, patternicity. So that's why the astrology spoke to me so much. And really, the greatest thing it did is it gave me guidance, man. Mm-hmm. It's like it's the map, you know. It really is. The whole universe is like a cosmological clock, and all things are based on rhythms. Like the body itself, it's a process, as Deepak Chopra said. It's not a thing. It's a process. Mm-hmm. And yeah, man. Like I've just been doing this series of connecting the dots, seeing the patterns that emerge in the context that I zoom out constantly to observe and see these patterns. Because the more we zoom out, the more you start to see how shit interrelates and correlates. Yeah. So, and I was just actually performing this at last night at Jessica's Flip the Script event. I opened it up for her.
Okay, yeah, you were saying.
That was beautiful, man. What a great community of people. It was a totally packed event, man. A lot of people came out to support, nice. Which is awesome, because the work she's doing is very similar to, I think, what you and I as spiritual beings are kind of walking and exemplifying. Like you went back to the incarceration, you know, inmates people who have gone through to the degree and depths of darkness that we have, if they can get over that self-judgment, my God, the things that they can and they will accomplish. A lot of times, what got them in there to begin with, they're brilliant and they're confused. They're like Einstein tripping over his own laces because, you know, he's better off in his core competency, calculating fucking black holes, you know? So people who are not expressing that creativity and are not, you know, showcasing the real skills, they're just going to constantly trip over their laces, so to speak, and their creativity will find expression in other things that are not a lot less productive. They'll be destructive, you know, like and that's the thing, man. But the astrology, for me, I see it as like, it's mysticism, and anything that we don't yet first comprehend and understand, usually we first dismiss rather than investigate, because there's a burden now of you know, time and effort and work that's going to that's involved in us going in to check it out. But even like the horoscopes, you look at the etymology of the word horoscope. Horoscope is time, scope, so time measurement sort of thing. You know what I mean? And that's what this is. This universe is like a big clock, and astrology kind of helps us measure ourselves within time. Where are we? Within, you know what I mean? So, and finally, for me at 37, where am I? Holy smokes. I'm like, seeing that the only meaning there is the meaning we give. Yeah. So whether it's the religion, whatever it is that you find meaning in life from, just find that meaning and live it. Because you can't even give it. The meaning there is the meaning you live, ultimately. Because you can give meaning, but then, you know, it's are you living that?
Are you living meaning?
Yes. Yeah. You live in that, you know. So I'm kind of trying to now, you know, in the next couple of years, sort of see how with this new 2020 crystal vision that I feel all of us, humanity's experiencing right now in 2020, how am I going to live it much more even abundantly and prosperously, you know, because FIT HOP itself, it's been a blessing and a curse in a sense, because from one perspective, it's this incredible creation that I've sort of stumbled upon, and it literally came to me in a dream. You know, maybe I should just share this real quick. It's crazy. I was going for a long time. I was trying to get fithop.com, and I was told that, like, you got to get the website in order for, you know what I mean? The .com is going to be born, because this is going to emerge with or without Niko. I knew that. that. And already, if you go, there's FIT HOP New York, there's FIT HOP LA, there's FIT HOP everywhere, just emerging. But back then, the first thing she told me is don't repeat the word until you trademark it. And then the second was make sure you get that domain .com. And the .com wasn't available for years and I'd always check back on my domain and I'd see literally, unavailable in red. But in this dream, which I'll save the details of the dream, but my grandfather that I'm named after, Nicolaus. He takes me through like all the mountains and trees, and it was this crazy journey, and we end up in a volcano, and in the core of this volcano he points and disappears, and I go and I see this Macintosh computer, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm looking in this dream at mydomain.com, and I see available, fithop.com, and available, and that's when I woke up, and I was like, what the heck? And I had my laptop right beside me. I opened the laptop, I go on my domain, and I'm like, what the hell was that? And mydomain.com, there it is, fithop.com in green, available.
Wow.
That's what I mean by in that track, Connected Musically, where I'm like, yo, it came to me in a dream, but at the time I didn't understand what it even means until I learned to focus my gift of ADD, created FIT HOP, Spartan Productions, my alternate drive, and destiny, ADD. But it's not the best of me, so I'm going to get back down on one knee, bow my head in humility, so I may continue to receive all the power to connect the world musically. And that's what I mean, blessing and curse. Like, there's a gift, but with that gift is also this, like, mine. I created this. And that's Leo's biggest liability, biggest issue, is it's mine. The mantra is I made this. But, yo, the truth is, and where I'm at now, is like, at this stage, I didn't make any of this. I'm just stumbling across it. That's the best way I could put it. I'm just rendering it in a unique way with these skills that I've developed. And I don't even want to call them talents. I don't even know if they're gifts. I think the gift is life. And we all have the choice to cultivate, skills. And that develops into these things that people call talent. But it's not something you were born with. It's something you cultivate. Now, there might be a predisposition. Some people's learning curves are a lot, steeper than others in certain areas, but I think that has to do with more just your soul's mission and journey.
Yeah. I just want to like take that back a bit, where your abbreviations for ADD. Yeah. And I know you have one for ADHD as well. Yes. And in a society where these diagnoses are just running rampant, where these kids are just being fed meds, where really there's nothing wrong with them.
With the kids?
I know. I mean, to have ADD, right, which is attention deficit disorder,
right? Hyperdeficit,
and then the ADHD is hyperactive or whatever disorder. I don't think it's a disorder. It's not a learning disability. I just think it's a different learning ability.
Yes.
Right. So I maybe just touch on that a bit, because I love how you changed the ADD to alternate drive and destiny. And I don't know exactly how you abbreviated ADHD, but that to me, I think would, and with working with kids and stuff, I mean, you see these children, I mean, being held in the box of this traditional educational system, where all these kids, they might not be able to learn what the teacher's telling them. Yeah. So like, what does Albert Einstein says? If you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it'll think it's stupid.
Yes, exactly. That's a perfect way to describe. And I think you actually recently shared a really good spoken word by
Prince. Prince E or whatever his name is.
Can't remember his name right now, but incredible. And he starts with that quote. Yeah, he contextualizes it with that. So yeah, absolutely. It's not that they can't learn; it's just they can't learn it in that way. There's different ways of learning, visually, acoustically, kinesthetically, and then there's this other one. Now they're calling digitally. But I think that's kind of like the kinesthetic way. It's like a download, and it's like a spiritual download. So by being in the presence of someone who has achieved a certain degree of mastery that you aspire, you will just naturally, by being in their presence through this like osmosis process, start to download it. And kids who have this thing we call ADD, who are hyper deficit disorder, attention deficit disorder, it's because they're just not interested. And if there were more visuals, if there was more physical, then
more engagement with them.
Yeah, right. That's why they're gravitating so much to the digital, because there's so much movement in video, right? And there's sound, and it's so engaging. But that's also epidemical too, because now we're getting kids being raised on these screens.
Yeah, exactly. The iDads.
Yeah, and what it's doing is it's creating the dopamine release that basically the drugs are supposed to do. That's what they're seeking. They're seeking the dopamine. The ADHD mind, it doesn't have the same levels of dopamine. And the drugs, I did them myself because I'm like a guinea pig. I'm looking at this now because I want to really understand ADHD from every perspective I can. I've had it. I mean, you either have it or you don't. Like I got diagnosed is what I mean. Actually, just down the road from here, Young and Nicholson, the Possibilities Clinic. And it was so funny when I got the diagnosis. I was so happy. I was like, I got it right. He's like, yeah. He's like, why are you so happy?
Yeah, because now it makes sense.
It made so much sense, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wanted to put it like a certificate, like a PhD in my bedroom, bro. Frame it, because ADD and alternate drive and destiny. That's the whole idea that this new world that we're now emerging in, it's all about, the creative mind and the entrepreneurialism. You see it on the rise. You know, it's just thinking of different ways to make money, and not even make money, but like to make what's the word? To be productive, to give back, to like, you know, because that's all business is, supply and demand. It's not just about making money. It's about moving energy. It's about, you know, service. And
well, people are so focused on trying to,
capitalize.
Capitalize on certain things, you know, their accomplishments, add them up. If they're not, they struggle with anxiety. Anxiety is crazy. People get so anxious. And a few years back, I did a little Facebook video about anxiety and how being anxious won't add a minute to your day. It won't add a day to your month. Yeah. It's not going to add any more time. You're not going to get any more time. Yeah, you're going to lose time. Yeah. And so, you know, it's just go out and do it. So many people are focused on, you know, meeting that status quo, like what we should do with their 5-year plans, 10-year plans. If I'm not married by 25, if I don't have kids by the time I'm 30, and everybody's just freaking out because there's just this outside world telling you that if you don't have this and you haven't amounted to much. Yeah. You know, so just the added stress on that. And then, you know, to deal with that, and on top of having the attention deficit disorder, which I would much rather refer to it as the alternate drive and destiny, which I'm just different.
That's it. Neurodiverse is the proper word that they use. Yeah. The neurodiverse. The brain is different. Doesn't mean better, doesn't mean worse. It's just neurodiverse. Now, if you look at ADHD, this is another really good one. When they're saying like, oh, you know, like come back to earth. Like, you know, we always seem as, you know, people with ADD or ADHD, very creative people in general, like you're not really grounded. But that's because ADHD, I love this, attention dialed into higher dimensions. You're
that's the one.
That's the other one, right? You're tuned into something way higher.
Yeah, like you're not here. Like get on my level. Yeah, that's how I look at it. Like, everyone looks down on these kids like they got a problem. Like, there's something they need to fix. Yeah. They're not broken.
We need to meet them.
I would love to be ADHD.
Yeah.
I would love to be dialed into a higher dimension. Because this one sucks.
This one sucks.
Yo,
this third dimension
it's getting dormant, you know? Like, I'm feeling, it's just like it's stagnant and it's just becoming toxic. And I feel like we need to tap into that higher dimension because the human possibilities. You know, the word itself, I'm impossible, says I'm possible.
Love that, man.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, man.
So, and that's what it is. Possibility fills our lungs every breath we breathe. And if we can see and live from that space, then we can do what we're here to do, create and collaborate. And in that way, we don't continue to measure success with monetary, financial, you know, numeric, you know, backing. But like, what have you created? What have you serve the world with, you know, and that's to me, man, it's what it's all about, man. And we all have the ability to serve, yeah, and we all have the desire to deep down. We don't even realize it, but we do need to see it being done. We need more icons of inspiration, not icons that Hollywood's creating. No. You know what I mean? These are false icons, you know? But like icons of inspiration, like people are out there in the world, and that's a beautiful thing about the digital age that we're in now, and being able to go online, you watch like tune into Goldcast or these types of like, there's so many of them now that are just showing all these beautiful stories, because through those stories it validates the possibility that, hey man, I can write that story too. In fact, that one sounds a lot like mine, and it does have a happy ending. So I think that's ultimately my work, man, with FIT HOP. It's like I didn't fit in culturally to hip hop. I was a white boy growing up in the 90s, you know, let's just call a spade, man. Like you weren't cool unless you were black in my school, straight up. And the only access I had to the hip hop culture was fitness. The fact that I could break dance was because I had that gymnastic background, you know, and therefore my access to that cultural, construct that we called, I don't want to call it construct, but that cultural essence called hip hop for me was fitness, and therefore FIT HOP was like my way of saying, look, I don't need to fit into anything, you know, I can embrace who I am, whether it's white or black or Greek or, you know, Italian or whatever you are, you can fit by virtue of just being yourself. And And that's why I wrote that spoken word, which I first time, and I started writing that in BC as well when I'd gone in 2013. That's how long it took for me to finally, from that writing of it to performing it for the first time at the Word over at Alternity there, 333 Bloor. The synchronicities are crazy, man.
Yeah.
But that was where it went down the first time I wrote. It's called A New Hip in hip hop, and it starts out. First there was hip hop, and then there was hip hop, which sadly but clearly devolved into the debilitated form of commercialized shit hop we see in the mainstream channels today. Somehow the only hip is the gangster who walks with a limp, spitting a bunch of shit about getting rich and being a pimp. Come on, you know what I'm talking about. The glorified thug life, getting high, smoking spliffs, stacking chips, walking around with like a clown pounds halfway down to the ground, calling his own woman a bitch. Shit, that's some shit I simply couldn't identify with. But in fact, I tried to be honest, and at that point ended up lost and confused, rejected and abused. You know, wings clipped like the sun's rays blocked behind a giant eclipse. And why? Because I just didn't fit. I didn't belong. My heart was singing a different song.
Yeah.
But I used my creativity to flip the script. So I'm here to introduce y'all to a new hip to get down with. Guess what I called it? And then everyone's like, yes.
Yeah.
It's like that victorious story, you know?
Man.
Like you just stop trying and you just be.
Yeah.
And there it is. It comes out and flows. Here's another abbreviation, flows. Flow is follow life's outcomes willingly. You know?
Yo. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to write that down for later. I'm just going to write that down.
Follow life's outcomes willingly, man. Just flow.
Follow life's outcomes willingly. I
You
mean,
know.
there's such a, man, just a peace about that.
Yes.
Instead of going against it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Follow
Yes.
the flow. Don't resist the flow.
Yes.
Right.
Peace, you said it exactly. So people with anxiety, like just knowing that acronym, like some people might need to tattoo that shit on them.
I think I might.
That's a good one.
I think I might. I like
tattoo.
that flow, man.
Yeah.
Like that new series that came out, was it Rhythm and Flow with Cardi B, T.I., and Tyler, the Creator. And it's a talent. It's almost like American Idol, but for rappers.
Yes.
And the guy that won that, I like that, man. The rhythm and flow, and how you said earlier about life just being, it's all a rhythm, you know, sound waves. It's crazy, man. Like we've had discussions about that before, man, with the studio and just how the engineering process for you,
Yes.
right? How sound bounces, flows, you know, comes back, and how you hone in on those frequencies.
Yeah,
And to
honing
make it
in.
yeah.
When you say honing in, that's another one of the ADHD traits. Is it seems like we're so scattered, but it's as soon as you get interested, you are boom, razor sharp, honed right in. And that's where I found, like with the sound power of music, is where I felt like that's why the first album I created was called Power. I named it Power because I found that by tapping in, by not trying to fit in, by going with the flow and who you are and showing up in that true authentic space. There's so much power in that. There is so much power in that. And the sound, like the ability, I mean, that's probably a good time at this point to sort of introduce and do a little something here with the loop station, because not only does sound have so much power, like not only do we, with our voices, can we just, you know, we don't need any digital technology, you know, like all you really need is your voice at the end of the day in a space.
Your weapon of choice.
There it is. Yes.
Yes.
That's it, man. Spawn Productions. Weapon of choice is the human voice, man. And that's that whole idea is like, if anything, we're harnessing weapons of production and percussion for mass, you know, social reconstruction. That was the whole premise of Spartan Productions. And the voice is really all we need. But the digital does help us to do a lot more. Here's an example. So this is basically Boss's latest, it's a tabletop looper. So,
Yeah, man.
Unlike the...
I've been looking at getting one of those, and along with an MPC. Les has one at Unity for Cypher Nights. We just create beats on the like
right
off
there.
the top, boom.
Off
and
the
then,
top.
Yeah.
Out of nothing, just off the top, on the spot, boom, you show them what you got. And it's so amazing to see how fast that you can do that. So like here, I'm going to go into this mic here now. Are we okay? Yeah,
sounds good.
So I'm going to move a little bit away so that there's no phasing. The sound engineer in me can't help. What are you thinking? Turn this one off even better. Okay, sweet. So we have all these different tracks, but you're starting with always it's like a bass and a and then the are your hi-hats, right?
Yeah.
And those are basic things I'll teach kids in the workshops. Like that's one of the modules in our workshop. But I'll just put it down like real quick and I'll explain. So right there you can hear there's a little bit of a it's not quite the perfect loop, right?
Yeah.
So I'll take that mistake I made and I'll work with that and I'll try to explain now that this is why time is so important. Time in everything, time in life, time, you guys got to wake up, so you can eat breakfast, you can also, have time to take your shower, brush your teeth, do everything. Time is so important,
Yeah.
and I'm using the musical metaphor and teaching them all these lessons. And the other thing is, even before we make the beat, like, let's just understand what is BPM. And
Beats per minute.
Beats per minute, right?
Yeah.
And what do you think sets the BPM in your body?
Your heartbeat.
Your heartbeat, yeah. So I explained to them, like a typical dance beat, or if you're jogging or working out, it's like 120, 100, or so BPM. Half of that is the average resting human heart rate. That's a healthy heart, So even the music that we're listening to has that effect on us because why? We are music. It's not even like we're like music. The human body literally is an instrument. Mm-hmm. It's the harmony of 60 trillion cells dancing to that beat of your heart. So then I'll go for it again. I'll I'll break it down. Sometimes the teachers are like learning more than the kids. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Man. But yeah. So once we got that, that's a lot better. It sounds. Then I can get them to understand that breathing, just breath itself. It's more filter here. So something as simple as that. Just breathing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we got. And the coolest thing here is I can actually turn my voice into bass as well. So like bass 212. I'll get the kids to have an opportunity to speak on the microphone. Like, what's your name? Bobby. Everyone starts laughing.
Yeah.
It's fun. Right?
Yeah,
it's just,
exactly.
It's pure fun.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, man. So we keep building on this.
Yeah.
So I'll ask them, do you want to go original or do you want to use Bruno Mars? And I love when they're like, original. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
That's the definition of beautiful original. Here we go. And then we can go into like an echo now. Check. Whoa, some reverb. 6. So now from that, you can isolate one, you can use them all, you can play. We could do so much with it though.
Yeah, man.
And then I'll just
Kids are
tell
going
them,
nuts.
They're going crazy at this point.
Yeah.
Like some are doing jumping jacks
Oh, yeah.
already. You don't even have to ask them to work out.
It's crazy how like that those certain beats just make your body want to move.
Yes.
That's what I love about music. Is
Yes.
I hear that beat, I hear that tune, and I could be in the worst mood.
Yes.
I could be having a shit day, and then that track comes on, and I'm just like,
Yeah. Exactly.
And then all of a sudden, I'm just, I'm good.
That's it.
I'm
man.
good.
That's it. That's why church is all about going, ultimately congregating together and doing what? Singing.
Yeah, man.
Singing the gospel. Those what are the Baptists, right? Where you have like the whole band. And
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
they go crazy. Yeah, man.
To me, that's what all church should be. I mean, I'm Greek, so I come from like the Greek Orthodox, religion. Very, very. I don't want to say. Just very, fundamental, like to a point almost of dogmatic, and it's beautiful in its own way. But like the key with, I think, and I know we're touching in religion. This is just gonna get serious, but it's
hard
not
to swallow.
It is, yeah. But like, let's just break down the etymology of it. Religion, right? Legion. There is a spiritual warfare going on, and
Absolutely.
Earth is a battlefield. There's no doubt, and surely music is the medium within which all of the curses or spells are being cast. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Gospel is God's spell, but the spells that are being cast on all the mainstream media, because of commercialization and all that shit, those are the evil spells. Those are the spells of the wood of the holly tree, as they call it, Hollywood. People don't even know the Hollywood literally is the Celtic wands, magic wands, were created out of the wood of these trees called the holly tree. The fact is this: religion, to reunite, find that legion, find that congregation, that body, which actually first is your body. It's you, the 60 trillion cells called you. But then it's like, it's where two or more are gathered in my name, right? There shall I be.
There shall I be in the midst, yes.
And this is what the cipher is in hip hop.
Yeah.
So once you find that you reunite and religionize within self, then you have to connect and collaborate and group and find community. It's all about community.
Absolutely.
And unity. And that's what you guys are doing up there, right?
Yeah, man.
With LS. And
it's been this coming in March, I think you said it'll be 450 consecutive ciphers.
Wow, man. And
on
that's
a weekly
church.
basis. So that's like,
church,
what's
bro.
that, 8 years?
That's
yeah,
you
man.
guys doing
Exactly.
church. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
those ciphers are your own form of church.
Yeah.
And it's so amazing that's that consistency. And who knows how many kids that have come out to those ciphers. Like you said, it changes your mood completely. Who knows?
Oh man, yeah. There's been some kids come from some dark places,
Right?
And they come there. They come on a consistent basis, and just watching the transformation in their own lives, how they've changed their perspective, how just being around positivity. We call it the inspiration station.
I love it.
So when they come around here, watching them come around is. It's just really inspiring to see. It's motivating to keep doing what we're doing, to keep going with these ciphers.
Like, who knows what some of those kids would have done hadn't they gone to that cipher that night? Who knows whose ass they'd go and beat the fuck out of, or like, what kind of 40 they'd go hit and drive, and who knows?
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
man.
Like,
it's a good, like, that's what it used to be. It used to be held on Friday nights. Which, it was good because, what else do you do on a Friday night?
Right.
You're hitting the club or you're hitting a party or something. So I thought it was great to have on Friday nights. And then, that just happened where more people were going out and doing stuff than coming in on Fridays. So we made it Tuesdays. Yeah, man, going on 450 consecutive weeks,
crazy.
Man. It's great.
It's
man.
amazing,
It's
man.
great.
And what is cipher? That's a good question. People always ask that. Cipher. I didn't even understand, but I love the word. Certain words just sound good. Cipher.
Yeah.
It's like a conjuring. It's a mastermind, as Napoleon Hill would have called it, but of artists. And in the hip hop circle, the cipher is a freestyle.
Yeah.
Basically, and not battle.
No.
It's not a battle, and if we're battling, we're only battling and overcoming the battle within ourselves.
Within, yeah, absolutely.
That's inhibiting us from grabbing that mic because we're listening to that guy and already comparing ourselves and feeling like, I can't spit like that, and what am I going to say? And so the battle is actually, I think, another diversion that people fall to that lower realms of, the vibrations of what hip hop is actually trying to do the opposite of, which is raise your vibration, giving you that dope beat in the back to get you moving. And then the freestyle, the cipher, is about actually coming together and synchronizing and masterminding. Because then things, you and I have had freestyles with Marcos or with, Early and all these other artists.
Man. And if you get some serious guys in that circle, man, you just feed off the energy.
Yeah, man.
It's hard to explain.
Yeah, man.
It's
same
incredible.
with band members, right? Like when they play their instruments,
man.
together. They don't even
they vibe. You get a good chemistry going with a band, and
they've never played with each other ever before. You know what I mean? They might even speak the same language, but they sit down at their instrument and everyone's communicating in harmony.
Because music is universal.
Exactly.
So it's a language that anybody can understand, no matter what you speak.
And the universe is music. The one verse song.
Yeah, one verse, yeah.
And we are all instruments, man. We're all here, born on planet Earth to contribute our verse within this multiverse, this singular verse. And we're like lyrics within this verse. And we have to show up, man. Lyrical is the miracle. It feels so spiritual. You know what I'm saying? When you just let it flow. Yeah, here we are, letting it flow. I don't know how are we doing for time here? We got we're doing okay, yeah.
We're all right. We got time, bro.
Is there any particular aspects that you wanted to I don't know, with regards to I don't want to go too much more into the astrology and esoteric stuff.
No, but what I really what I'm really interested in hearing you speak about too is the vibrational the frequencies in which the megahertz or whatever those, you know what I mean? About how, the radio, we're playing music. If you play music at a certain frequency, how it actually dumbs us down.
Right. Okay.
Right. And I remember, I just remember us talking about that, and you really just let me know, at what frequency things played to uplift compared to what's being played to dumb us down.
So you want me to speak a little more to
Yeah,
that,
man,
eh?
I'd love to hear
Okay.
it.
Because that is a good point, man. Like as a sound engineer, I understand very clear what's going on here.
Yeah, because you really got to be careful at what you're feeding yourself, what you're
Absolutely.
ingesting in your ears, in your mouth, in your
Absolutely.
eyes. So
Absolutely.
music, I think, it can be used as a weapon.
Yes. One
Right.
of the lyrics reminding me of a verse I think you wrote.
Yeah.
Music can be used as a.
It's
It's one of your Project Universe's
yeah.
verses
You
to unite us or to.
yeah, it can be used to unite us or divide us, basically.
That was it. Exactly. So yeah, there are vibrations, there are cadences, there are relationships between nuances and rhythms that literally put us into what's called cognitive dissonance. And there's also intervals. Even frequency is the measurement of pitch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are actual, and they know this, and I say they as in the people who are really funding these massive
The powers
records.
that were.
Yeah, you like that, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
We no longer call them the powers that be.
Powers that were.
You know, if you're talking to TY,
Because there's an
or me, that's
awakening,
the
yeah,
powers
man.
that were.
There's people that are becoming
Yeah.
aware, and
Yeah.
not this whole hashtag woke. It's just being aware that these things have an effect.
Yeah.
And just being in tune with self, like what affects. I know I don't like. I used to be that guy. I used to listen to G Unit, and I used to the Game. I used to listen to that gangster rap. Like you said earlier, I used to try to embody that.
Yes.
Because I wanted to fit in, and I did. I did a lot of shit that I probably shouldn't have done to try to fit in with that. And I used to look at guys that would come to the ciphers earlier on in the early stages of these ciphers that weren't dressed like what I thought hip hoppers should dress like. They didn't look like hip hop to me, so I was like, "You're not hip hop." But now, years later, knowing that, man, all hip hop really is just the art of self-expression.
That's it.
Freely being able to express yourself without the care or worry of any judgment or outside source. That you're just unapologetically being who you are, being comfortable who you are, letting go of that comparison, knowing comparison is the thief of all joy. So when I hear a guy, I appreciate and I respect other people's talents rather than go, because I'm surrounded by Spartists. I'm surrounded by guys that are like, damn, like I would buy your album.
Yeah.
And so when they say to me like, yo, Ty, that was dope. Like I don't feel like
Something so
oh man,
powerful
like
with that.
I'm not jealous of them. I'm not like, I wish I was as good as them.
Yes,
It kind of, iron sharpens iron. So when you surround yourself with people that if you want to grow, if you want to excel, you want to become better, you want to progress, surround yourself with people that you want to be like. Success leaves clues, and you're a product of your environment. So I think it's important to surround yourself with people who you respect, you appreciate, you look up to, right? So that they can bring
And are
you
better
and
than
lift you up. Yeah, who are better than
Straight
you. There's
up.
nothing wrong with being, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. Right? So I've humbled myself. I'm able to say, look, I'm comfortable leaving that room, and going to another one.
That's a
And then
great
when
way to put it.
if I become the smartest or best in that room,
Then I'm out.
time to switch rooms.
Boom.
You
I
know?
love that. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And again, going back to the way that they're manipulating using sound and frequency, they're making it seem cool. What's not cool, actually, is what they're making seem cool, and that's part of, again, the agenda of keeping.
Well, exactly.
People kind of dumb down. It's a lot easier to have them pushing the pedals. You know what I mean? But there is a major wave of people waking up, and I get that hashtag woke is now, it's like another.
It's another trend, like being woke, like.
And now everyone's woke just because they know what a chakra is, or like because they heard the word Illuminati and they know that. You know what I mean? This symbol means the pyramid. That, you know what? It's good that people are starting to wake up, but what's more important is that they start tuning into the right stations for their information, because we do live in the age of information, but also misinformation, and the greatest weapon that they have on us now is that they can actually confuse us with a lot of the misinformation. But the good news is that we do have, we come fully equipped. We're born with not only our conscience, but the ability, because the conscience is that faculty that we know right and wrong, truth and fallacy. But we do come fully equipped with something that allows us to know. When we hear truth, we know it's the truth.
Oh, it's in us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't deny it.
Exactly. And especially when we're two or more gathered, because now you have the presence of God there as well. and the truth will be known real quickly by everyone. You'll feel it, you know.
Yeah,
and
man.
that's what church really is about, and that's what you guys are doing up there in the cipher, and that's what I'm kind of trying to create as well with the edutainment workshops and FIT HOP that I'm doing in schools. It's like church all over again, but not in a way with that, you know, religious dogmatic sort of context.
Yeah. Sit down, stand up, sing,
exactly.
say hi to your neighbor,
Exactly.
sit down again,
Exactly.
put your money in the plate.
Yeah.
See you later. See you next week.
Yeah, man. It just seems to really now come together now.
Yeah.
You know, like we're tying the old into the new, and we're doing it. And that's what hip hop's agenda was. And I read the Gospel of Hip Hop. I got that from you as
copy,
well.
man. Yeah,
A
man.
copy, yes, man.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm so happy that that I was able to give that gift, pass that gift on to you. I was given that gift while I was in tree planting by a fellow, Joe was his name. He was like, dude, the way you're talking about hip hop, it's like you must have read the Gospel of Hip Hop. Didn't even hear about it. But it's true though. Like we all have this natural tendency to gravitate towards and to respond to the truth. And when we come into its scope, then just like that book, you know, you realize there is an agenda here. And there's two agendas. One is to dumb shit down and keep consciousness at a low level where, you know, you can have this mass manipulation and slave master sort of dynamic. But then there's the other agenda, and you can call it God or whatever you want to call it, source, God, universe, that its agenda is just for everything to heal. You know, just like if I cut right now, that's why like when people are like, you know, talking the atheism card and pulling on, I don't believe in anything. And they're all like just really cynical. They're not truly skeptical. They're not questioning shit. They're just, you know, denying everything. But if I cut you right now, you know what's going to happen? You're going to come back in 2 weeks and you'll be healed, you know?
Yeah.
So how can you not believe in a good force that's out there? There's something.
Yeah.
And you don't have to name it. You don't have to, you know, bow and stand to it and sing praise to it.
But you
know?
can't deny it.
But you can't deny it.
You can't deny it.
Exactly. And I love this abbreviation as well. HEAL. Human Education Against Lies.
Whew.
Yeah. There's another
hold
one.
on. Let me write that one down too, man.
Because that's all we is. That's all we need to do, man. We just need to heal. We need to
Human
seek education. Yeah, against lies.
Against lies.
And you know the real education, not the shit that we just recently posted. It stirred a whole
Oh,
bunch
I
of
know.
fathers.
A lot of people get upset at that because they think that school means education.
That was a big distinction. Thank you for making. That was the best thing you could have done.
Yeah.
That one distinction trumped everything.
Yeah.
Can you explain it to me again? Like how you school and education. How are these two different things?
Well, education is just simply that. Yeah, education. Where
Yeah.
school is indoctrination.
Yes.
Right? Where you don't get the freedom to think. You don't
Yes.
you're not taught to think critically.
Yeah.
It's just you have to sit in straight rows, like
Yeah,
the guy
yeah.
says, you know, hand up, ask permission to this. You can't. It's not that you're not learning. You're just being fed information to remember. You're
Like a bucket.
memorizing. Yeah, it's just
You're
like how
filling
well
a
can you
bucket.
obey and how well can you memorize.
That's right.
And then recite this information.
Regurgitate,
And
yeah.
if you can't, then you fail.
That's right.
Right?
That's how you're being measured. How well you
Yeah.
can memorize and regurgitate upon request, upon the test. Absolutely, man. You know that the etymology of the word education, educare, I think it is a Latin word that means to draw forth from within. So what Rudolf Steiner, one of my icons of inspiration, he started the Waldorf Academy. He described it and discerned education in two ways. His pedagogy was about kindling a fire versus filling a bucket. Because that's the difference between the system. The public systems are more like, here is the curriculum, and they're going to be filled with all this by the time they're graduated their 12th grade. But it's not about that. It's about kindling the fire within them, so that they can actually have the tools to go out there and make their own fire and be their own light and come up with ideas. I see fire as synonymous with creativity, and come up with the ideas of entrepreneurialism. You know what I mean? New business models, new ways of making money, serving, supplying, and I think, yeah, man, we're gonna see this more and more. It's happening before our eyes, although as it's happening and as we're waking up more, certainly the forces and powers that are still trying to be. So they're also turning up their volume, and they're kind of coming harder and harder at us. But again, the Spartan in me is like, it's all good, baby. Let's dance. Because it's not even war to me. It's a dance. And that's what I love, that saying they said about a Spartan. Spartan wasn't given a weapon till he learned to dance. Because if you're going into the battle thinking like, this is war, like your anger, your emotions are going to get involved.
Emotional, yeah.
And like we talked about too, like what happened way back then where I got all like emotional about, the fact that, things were not going as I hoped that they were going to go. I'm optimistic. I'm always like so optimistic, but to the point sometimes of delusion. That's where it's like you got to pull back and remember this is just a dance.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. Maybe you tripped and you fell, but what do? That's one of the exercises, actually. It's called falling up, getting back up. And I fall down. I show them like I'm a stunt man as well, like sometimes in film, right? So I can really like fall and it looks dramatic, bro. It looks painful.
Yeah,
but I know to do it properly so that, I'm not hurting myself. But I'll fall. I'm like, so what do we do? And the kids always know. They get back up. I'm like, all right, so how many ways are there to get back up? And they're like, guess. And I'm hoping someone's gonna say infinity because eventually, like that's what we arrive to. There's infinite ways, and I just show them a couple of different ways of getting back up. Either like a kip. That's usually the first one because they're just like, what? With no hands too. It's like
do that. Yeah.
Because if you fall and get back up like that, then you can fall anytime. Anyway, it's all good, But then I show them, here's another way, and there's creative ways too that are also interesting looking, but easy to do. You don't need to, So that's another one of the exercises. That's right after showtime. I call it showtime, where I basically teach them what the breaking circle is. Yeah. Because that's another part of the cipher is for breakdancers is the breakdancing circle. Yeah. And we'd go in the clubs back in the days, 1, 2, 3, open it up. Someone would jump in, start their set, and people would. So that's one of the most important parts because that's where I discern the concept of showing off and not allowing anyone to call them show-offs because they have to understand that the person calling you a show-off is the person whose show is off. You're showing up. You're showing up. Yeah. You're showing up.
There's another nugget.
There's another one. We need a sound effect.
Full of nuggets. We got a 20-pack up in this bitch. Oh, man. No, and I think, we'll wrap it up here, shortly. I think this will be a part 1 of an ongoing series. I definitely would love to have you back. But as fathers, and being responsible, I know you're working with the kids and the youth and the schools, which I think is great. I'm actually going to go to and speak to my daughter's teacher because I think it'd be great to have you come up to that school. Just let these kids know, falling down, getting up. But just, I've always told my daughter's very hard on herself. She's got a test coming up. Oh, I forgot to study. Oh my God. She's like so anxious to the point of tears. And I've always told her, I said, baby, if you get an F, that don't mean shit to me. All that means is that you learn differently than what they're trying to teach you. Don't let. But she never does. She's straight A's. She's like, but she's so hard on herself. Yeah, she's so hard on herself. And I think that's the problem with these kids. Think that if they don't get an A or a B, if they get a C, D minus, F, G, whatever they get, that they feel like they're a failure. When no, all that just means is you don't fit inside their box.
That's all.
Right.
That's all.
So,
and as a father, that's I think ultimately the best thing we can ever teach and pass on is like you're not a failure because you failed. You've only failed when you've quit.
When you quit. Just so don't ever quit and you'll never fail.
That's it.
Yeah, man.
That's it, man.
I like that. I think that's a good note to leave on, man. And definitely this will be to be continued.
I agree. There's so much more we could touch on. I mean, we haven't even talked about fatherhood.
We haven't even scratched the surface.
Yeah.
Shit.
Fatherhood is a big one, and that's something that I think connects us to as fathers of daughters, especially. So, this concept of
girl dads.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
And protecting the divine feminine actually was the essential purpose of the existence of the Spartans. So, hence, when I call it Spartan Productions, it was because I'm trying to protect that creativity, the feminine being the creativity. And interestingly enough, to just connect all these dots right now, hip hop has 2 H's and 1 O. Within that word abbreviation. It stands for her infinite power helping oppressed people. But H2O, water and flow, that's the creative vibe. Yeah.
That's another nugget.
and to connect the dots, man, like actually speaking of connecting the dots, hopefully, I mean, it's going to be the 27th of February. Hopefully, people will have time to still grab
yeah, man,
tickets.
Plug it in. Let them know where they can come out to that.
Yeah. It's going to be up in Vaughan. It's the 27th of February. The tickets are selling out quick, man. So definitely go and check it. It's on my Instagram. You can find me easy at Niko_Spartist, or even easier at FIT HOP. They're both. I try to focus. FIT HOP is all the school initiatives I'm doing. Niko Spartist is now what I'm doing with connecting the dots, which is a broader perspective. Like I'm not all about FIT HOP and only FIT HOP. Like I'm zooming out even more now and saying, hey, look, FIT HOP was just a couple dots I connected at a period in my life that I was seeking social validation, and I was looking for identification of who exactly and what I was. But right now, I think more importantly, it's about connecting the dots on the global picture here. Who are we? What is this human experience?
Well, I've said that ever since meeting you guys and coming into that circle of friends and network, is that each one of us is a dot.
Yes.
And if we connect, the bigger picture
emerges.
Boom.
Yeah, and the truth emerges, and the patterns emerge as that truth. So, yeah, man, it was such a pleasure. Also, and having you come in on Project Universes with that verse. And that initiated literally over 37 artists came out on that. So there'll be more of that, more showcasing of these dots that we've had this beautiful opportunity to gravitate to and attract in our paths. So definitely, man, much more coming soon.
Yeah, bro, to be continued.
I feel like at this point it's gotta be like after these messages.
Yeah,
I'll be right
come back. Yeah, for sure. But no, man, thank you. Appreciate you coming out. I think we set the bar pretty high, man. For the first Type Hop podcast, bro. That's a wrap.
I had a feeling it was going to be
a wrap. Oh, man, I wouldn't have had anybody else first, man. As soon as I met these guys and we knew what we were going to do, even before we were going to focus more on fatherhood and fathers, I just knew, man, I had to have you on here. So, again, man, appreciate you coming out.
Much love.
Thank you for your time. I'm looking forward to part 2 already.
Absolutely, man.
Okay, man. Where can you find me? At home with the wife and kids. Playing dad.
Hashtag
family
dad.
life. Yeah. Hashtag dad. Yo, you just find me up, Tyler Nicholson, all social media platforms. Check me out. TidePod.com, I believe, is coming soon. It's under construction right now, but it'll be there real soon. You can check out some flat pictures of myself, and we're gonna tag in any guest that's coming forward from here on out. All the information that you've heard now on the podcast of plugins where you can find events and find out more about our guests. We'll make sure that that's in there too. But you find me on Instagram, Facebook. That's about it. And if you don't have my personal phone number, then you don't know me well enough to have it. Peace.
That's awesome.
What's up, everybody? I just want to thank you for tuning in to the first inaugural podcast here at TidePod.com. I also want to give a special thanks to my first guest, Nicholson Sofianos. It was a pleasure having you, my brother. And for those of you interested and you want to hear the tune, we're going to tag that here. It's called Spirit Within. Stay tuned for part 2 of that. There'll probably be a part 3, part 4. Again, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned. We're going to come to you weekly. And check us out at TidePod.com.
I'm face to face with defeat, empty with nothing left. Been forced to dig deep and grind hard through the blood and sweat. But I must admit it seems so pointless at times. I'm in a constant battle with these voices inside, saying the choice isn't mine, I ain't got what it takes. And looks like circumstance keeps on raising the stakes. So I dig deeper, I grind harder. I'm trying to follow in the footsteps of my father. I'm trying harder, hoping things will change. But I'm having some difficulty finding the inner strength. See what's left in my tank? Don't seem like it's much. I'm at a crossroads with no hope, no one to trust but survival instincts and a fire within. My will to succeed and my desire to win. I'm inspired by him with the warrior's mentality, hoping that's what it takes to overcome reality. So you gotta keep on moving on. Someday you'll get where you're going. So you gotta keep on moving forward. Eventually you'll get where you're going. I was lost and now I've been found again. It feels like I've been given the will of 1,000 men. The chains of yesterday, I am no longer bound to them. I can see my future now, it's just up around a bend. But every now and then I'm blinded by deception, calling to the skies for a divine intervention. No matter how hard I try, my cries go undetected. I'm left on my own again to find the right direction. Life's so full of questions, only some have the answers to. Success is not a destination, it's an attitude. We can't get stuck in a rut, sometimes we have to move to keep your head above the ground and in a higher altitude. Do what we have to do, we're all steering the wind. I'm trying to make it by the hair on my chin, hoping when I arrive there's nothing to fear in the end. As I walk blinded, I'm guided by my spirit within. So you gotta keep on moving on. Someday you'll get where you're going. So you gotta keep on moving forward. Eventually
against the wall, now what you gonna do? Feels like you're the only one that believes in you. 1,000 of these doors open and close, but you know this is how the story goes. So you gotta keep on moving on. Someday you'll get where you're going. So you gotta keep on moving forward. Eventually you'll get where you're going. So you gotta keep on moving on.